You wake up when your body is ready. No alarm, no buzzing phone, no clock on the wall telling you that you are already late. For roughly 300,000 years, this was not a luxury. This was simply how every human being on Earth woke up. Today, the average person reaches for an alarm within seconds of opening their eyes. Nearly half of all adults report feeling tired during the day, every single day. Something has gone deeply wrong with how we sleep. But here is the strange part. Your ancestors did not sleep more than you. In many cases, they slept less. So why do they seem to have rested so much better? To understand this, you have to throw out almost everything you assume about ancient sleep. For decades, anthropologists pictured early humans collapsing into 8 straight hours of darkness the moment the sun went down, because there was nothing else to do. No screens, no light, no distractions, just sleep. It made sense on paper. It also turned out to be mostly wrong. In 2015, sleep researcher Jerome Siegel led a study published in Current Biology that placed activity tracking devices on members of 3 modern hunter-gatherer and forager-horticulturalist groups, the Hadza of Tanzania, the San of Namibia, and the Tsimane of Bolivia. These were communities with no electricity, no clocks, and no artificial light beyond firelight. If anyone still lived the way humans lived for most of history, it was them. The results surprised almost everyone. These groups slept an average of about 6.5 hours a night. Not 9, not 10. 6.5. That is less than many modern sleep guidelines recommend. And yet, insomnia was almost unheard of in these populations. People rarely complained about sleep at all. So the question is not how did ancient humans get more sleep? The question is, how did they get so much benefit out of less? The first answer lies in light, not artificial light, real light. The kind that moves in a predictable arc across the sky every single day, the same arc it has followed for millions of years. Your brain contains a tiny cluster of cells called the suprachiasmatic nucleus, sitting just behind your eyes. Think of it as your body's master clock. Its entire job is to read the light hitting your eyes and use that information to time everything else. When does cortisol rise to wake you up? When does melatonin release to make you drowsy? When does your core body temperature drop to help you fall asleep? For nearly all of human history, that clock had one job and one input. Sunlight. Bright blue-toned light in the morning told the brain it was time to be alert. Warm, dim, orange-toned firelight in the evening told the brain the day was ending. There was no confusion, no mixed signals, just a clean, repeating rhythm running in the background of every single day. Now think about your evening. A phone screen a few inches from your face, a television, overhead LED lighting that mimics midday sun at 9 at night. Every one of these sources is heavy in blue wavelength light, the exact signal that tells your suprachiasmatic nucleus, it's morning, stay alert. You are essentially telling your brain the sun just rose, right before asking your body to shut down for the night. No wonder it resists. The second piece of the puzzle is even stranger, and it comes from a place you might not expect. Old diaries. Historian A. Roger Ekirch spent years digging through pre-industrial records, court documents, medical texts, and personal journals from Europe before the widespread use of artificial lighting. He found something that does not exist in most modern sleep patterns at all. Repeated casual references to a first sleep and a second sleep with a period of quiet wakefulness in between, often lasting an hour or more. People did not panic about this gap. They used it. Some prayed. Some talked quietly with a partner. Some simply lay in the dark, awake, thinking. Then, when they felt ready, they drifted back into a second block of sleep until morning. This pattern is sometimes called segmented sleep, or biphasic sleep. And here is the key detail. It was not considered a sleep problem. It was considered normal. It only disappeared once cheap, reliable artificial lighting let people push bedtime later and compress the night into one continuous block. So picture an evening deep in human history. Let's reconstruct it. The sun drops below the horizon. A small group sits around a fire, the only light source for miles. The orange glow flickers against the dark. There is no reason to do anything productive in this light. It is too dim to work, too dim to travel safely, too dim for almost anything except talking. So people talk, stories get told. The day gets processed out loud. Tension gets released through conversation and laughter, not bottled up and carried into the night. Anthropologist Polly Wiessner studied the Juhuansi-san of the Kalahari and found that nighttime firelight conversations served a very different social function than daytime talk. Daytime conversations were mostly practical, focused on tasks, complaints, coordination. Firelight conversations after dark shifted toward stories, folklore, and social bonding. The fire created a natural transition zone between the demands of the day and the stillness of sleep. There was no scrolling through other people's curated lives, no replaying a stressful work message right before bed, no blue light convincing the brain it was still daytime. Just a slow, dimming signal that the day was ending, stretched out over an hour or more, giving the body time to catch up with the sky. Then, eventually, sleep. Not necessarily one block. Sometimes broken, sometimes not, but never treated as a malfunction either way. Here is where the story takes its twist. You might assume that agriculture, with its fixed seasons and predictable cycles, would have made human sleep more regular, more structured, healthier. The opposite happened. The shift to farming around 10,000 years ago packed people into denser settlements, introduced new stresses around stored food, ownership, and defense, and created the first real incentive to wake before dawn, every single day, regardless of how the body felt. Skeletal evidence from early agricultural sites, compared to earlier forager populations, shows increased markers of chronic stress and disrupted health. The freedom to sleep according to your body's own signals was one of the first things to go, traded away the moment humans started living by the demands of crops and storage rather than the rhythm of the sky. In other words, the very thing many people blame for poor sleep today, modern life, industrial schedules, artificial light, did not start with smartphones. It started thousands of years ago, the moment human schedules stopped being set by the sun and started being set by something else. Smartphones just finished the job. So what does any of this mean for you, lying in bed tonight with a phone in your hand? It means your body is not broken. It is running ancient software on modern hardware, and the modern hardware keeps sending it false signals. Bright light at night tells your suprachiasmatic nucleus the sun is still up. A packed, anxious evening with no transition period gives your mind no version of that firelight conversation, no slow off-ramp from the day. And waking up to a jarring alarm, rather than gradually as your sleep cycle naturally lightens near dawn, is something almost no human experienced for the vast majority of our history. You do not need to live in a hut. You do not need to give up electricity. But the next time you lie awake at 2 a.m, frustrated, checking the time, remember this. For most of human history, that moment was not a malfunction. It was simply the night, doing what nights have always done, giving your mind a quiet space between one sleep and the next. You wake up when your body is ready. For 99% of human history, that was the only alarm anyone ever needed.